Today, I'm going to be taking you through how to create templates for the Honeywell Spyder5 controllers and show you a little bit about what to do with that. With the templates, it's pretty cool. You can actually create your programming, develop graphics, set all of your alarms, histories, and everything to that piece of your program or to that particular controller. And then you can save it as a template. And then as you go to another job, if that program that you have written is close enough to that, then you can actually use that template, do minor changes to it, and actually have a working controller with fully functional graphics, alarms, everything already preset up. The Spyder5s are a little bit different than with the classic Spyders, because the classic Spyders, they used an app library where you could actually take parts of your program, put it in your app library, and then just pull out what you want. With the Spyder5s, that is not possible. So you utilize the full functions of templating. If you have any Honeywell Classic Spyder programs, they do have a migration for it to where you can actually migrate those programs over, and even your app library, you can actually migrate that over to a Spyder5 kind of like template, and then reuse those, what you've already created. So you don't have to worry about recreating everything all over again. So in your under your host, user, home, and then application templates, this is where you can actually take and add those templates that you get from someone else, and you would throw them in there, and then come here to templates, open that up, and now you have a list of all your templates and everything that you've thrown in that folder. I'm sorry, in the template folders under your user home. So anything that you put in here would show up in this template application right here, and then you can go from there. And as you want to create, want to bring in new controllers into your station, make sure I'm the right one. So here I can take under my backnet, and I can grab any one of these templates that's here, and then add them into my backnet network. At this time, you can rename the controller. Again, whenever you restore, it's always going to say that it has a default password. There is no password. but you can actually password protect the program that you have written. And so now there's that controller with data parts and everything that was already set up in it. So getting started with one, again, you would go through I can go through my IRM programming. Here's my programs that I have had written. Here's my zone logic, humidity control, cooling logic, heating logic. And then my onboard backnet parts, all linked up. Another program, and then my fan program. So I have all of that set up. And so right now I have a template that is actually written for this. One of the things that you're gonna notice that if you're starting with a newly fresh Spyder5 controller, like this fan core unit one here, I've thrown in some programs for it. Well, I started to, but it's blank right now. If you try to take and click on it and then go down to make template, this will come up. At this time, you can name it. You can give it a file name that you want. You can give it a title. Vendor is Tritium, but you can change that to your company name. The version number is going to be at 1. When you first start off, this is going to be set to draft. You can give a description, and then you can type in some general information about this template with your controller. And then if there's a particular icon or something you want to associate with it, you can always change and add that in. Components. I'm gonna go to one that's already there. I can show you that. So here's my program title name, file name, title name, vendors, Tritium, the version. It's a draft. Again, I can add a description here. I can do a description if I wanted to. Over here at components, it basically just gives you the same options as here. But if I can expand this, I can go here, look at what programs are in there. I can even take and double click on this where it gives me that, and I can right click on it as well and go to wire sheet. There's my program right there. And then I can go to the slot sheet and hide or unhide things or look at all my parts and everything that's in that folder as well. So with this screen right here, you're pretty much going to use a lot of, and I'll show you that a little bit later. configuration is pretty much the same. With that, I can go in. Let's see, zones. Set points. So I can add this in here for my occupied cooling set point, where I have a value there. And what this is, these are points that I want to add to this template. So when I deploy this template in any type of way, it's going to look at what I put in here, and then it's going to ask me, it's going to allow me to put settings in there as I add them, as I add that template to my station. So I can come here, rename this to set point. And with these, you always want to add your default values. So I have my set points here added that I want to add to the program. It created that template for me, which I didn't really want to do. So if you did like I did, hit save, it's gonna go ahead and create it. But if you wasn't finished with it, you can always go to your template folder and then just double click on it there. And it brings you back into your template there. Relations, if you have anything that is attached with each other or linked to each other, you kind of see that in there. Your template IOs, you can add stuff there. I've never physically used this myself. And then if there's any graphics associated with this, you have the screens of the graphics that is tied to this controller. So I have an application configuration view that I was creating. So I have a banner that is on each one of these. I have my fan coil unit drawing. This is from the silk device itself. And then another deal, a view that I was creating that I haven't finished putting graphics on yet. So if you just have a PX page with just points on it, this is what the page is going to look like. And then sub templates is if you have a template that is attached to another template, then it'll show up here as well. So once you have all of that, you go back to template information. If you have that template exactly the way you want it, you're gonna take this, you're gonna switch it from draft to ready. Sorry. And then do save. So 1.0 is your initial deal. When you are ready to put it to ready, just change it to 1.1 and then just go on from there. If you go in and make any changes, then you just add increments by 1, then it'll become 1.2, 1.3, or you want to change it to version 3, version 4. That's where all of this, you change those numbers there. So say that you have this, your template and everything is all set up, and you got to the point where you're on a job, you know you did part of the program the way you wanted it to be, but you don't want to deploy that whole template. You actually can come here, go back to components, go to your IRM programs. And so now I can actually take these blocks and then just copy these. And then I can go into this fan coil unit program and then do paste. And then so now in that controller, I have that zone logic set up all complete. So you can go back into a template and just drag out or copy parts of it that you want to have. So that's kind of the replacement for the Spyder Classic libraries. So do anybody have any questions at this time? Okay. So as I said before, your template folder, when you actually create the templates, it's going to go into, all of them is going to come into here. Sometimes you may see where it may show up as duplicates and they're here. So don't worry about that. Just close out of it, go back, and then it should straighten itself back out. If you, like I did here, I just copied this template, I recreated another one. And as you can see here, if I use the same name, it's gonna increment it by 1. And then version 1. And then once I set it to ready, you gotta increment it by that another 1. And so that's version 1.1. As you can see, I have some templates here that is version 1.3. 1.105. I have a version 3-3, so you can make them however you want to make them. So one of the other cool things is if I'm using VAV boxes and I have those templates set up, I can come here to BACnet network. Which I just did wrong because I wanted to go to the BACnet IRM folder. So I can go to my IRM folder. And then I want to add a new device. Right now, if I come here, add this, here's my template devices right here. I'm not online with my demo case at the moment. So you can actually take and I can drag this down. I can add it that way. If I was set up and I did a discover, the discover pane would come up, and then my yeah, I gotta fix that. So you can do a discover. Right now I'm having some issues, but I can do a discover where I'm discovering all of my controllers, and then I can open up this template folder as well. And then you could, if it's VAV boxes, you can discover those, pick your VAV application, and then you can actually add that to that, and then it would add it down here with this template, and then it would come back and ask you for adding the like set points, set points, airflows, and everything like that that you saw me do with this application here earlier. So again, make sure you go to Honeywell's website to get the latest drive. Make sure you have the latest drivers, latest firmware, tools, and everything for the Spyder5s. If you are doing the Spyder5 VAV controllers, they do have 2 template applications on the website, which is the TR23 and the TR42s. The TR40 and the TR120s is ones that I went in and just changed the silk devices. And with that, it is as easy as adding those to your templates and then coming here. Let's add this. And this is where that little screen right there that I was talking about earlier, where it'll come up and ask you for the duct area, K factor, min and max flow, reheats, max and min reheat, then a zone description. And then once you fill all that out, you can hit OK. Again, every one of them will come up and say that there's a default password. There is no default password. It's just something that comes up, and then you would just hit OK. So now in this, I can come here, go to IRM programs, periodic programs. Here is where that sensor is. I can come here to palette. Under Honeywell IRM controls, and then scroll down to Silk, and then Silk devices. So I can actually come here. This one is set up for all Silk devices with a temp, humidity, and CO2. But I don't want to use the TR42. I want to use the TR40s. So I can take this, add this block here, and then go ahead and delete this one. And then remember, when you have your program, if you have it online, anytime you touch any of the Silk device modules, you have to redo a complete download of your controller. So I can come here, right click, go to action, and say attach all unassigned parameters. And now when I go into my zone logic, let's do that again. Let's see. So right here, this is a Silk device. And as you can see, it says Silk device none. I can double click on this, go to Silk configuration. I'm sorry, Silk device there. And which look like I'm having some issues with my stuff. So, but this normally is a drop down box right here where you can select that Silk device that I put in, or typically you can right click on this, go to actions and say attach unassigned parameters. And then what it does is it looks at your all the program IRM folders and then see if there is a Silk device module that's in there, and then it would assign this sensor to each one of those function blocks, and that way you won't have to click on every single one of them and go through your program. Any questions so far? All right. So that's pretty much it for using the templates. Like I said, they are a They're a little bit different than using the classic Spyders with the Honeywell app library that they have, or you creating your own app library. But Honeywell didn't get rid of all of that. You can actually take and migrate all of that. If you come here to tools, right here, there's a Spyder to IPC migration tool. To get this to come up, you will have to, there is a migration module that you would have to download and add to your modules to get this to show up. So you have the option of doing stations, an app library. You can export a library, and you can do a custom palette as well, where it'll take and migrate all of that for you. My app library I have stored on a USB drive. I don't leave it on my laptop. That way I can always carry it around with me. So if anybody have done any of the Spyder 30s, this migration tool is pretty much the same thing as that one, where you can actually take a Spyder program or a actual station that you have and you want to use. You have the classic Spyders, but you have another job that's going to be exactly the same, and you want to use the Spyder5s, you can actually use this station migration here, and then just select it, and then say migrate, and it'll migrate those classic Spyder controllers over for you into an IRM Spyder5 programming and logic. If there is any folders or anything that you have used in there, those folders will be carried over. You do have to be careful. There is a limit to how many folders you can have in those controllers. Another deal, if you're doing any of the templates and you have made any links through Niagara, make sure you delete those links first. When you go to create the template, it will kind of cause you some headaches. It will create problems, and it won't let you actually create the template correctly. So if you have, for an example, if you're sharing an outside air temperature from a classic Spyder or a third-party controller, and in your logic, you need to see that outside air temp. So you want to make sure, if you're going to create a template of that controller, make sure that it is unlinked before you make that controller, if you're using the Niagara tagging, not tagging, but the link marks. Another little fact as well is when we looked at the template here, and I went to graphic, you want to kind of be careful with your with this as well, because it will actually take the form of the parts and everything. Let me get to a graphic. So this right here, I'm looking at this logic, it will kind of keep this right here. So make sure you relativize it. So this graphic will come out okay. But if my application config, they'll here, this logic actually points directly back down to the IRM program. So in this, so if you rename it, that controller or anything like this part of the program could actually break. So Right now, I have it as fan coil unit. So if I got 15 of these, you're gonna have fan coil unit 1, fan coil unit 2, fan coil unit 3, 4, and 5, so on. So you're gonna have to be careful with that. If you have done that, it's very easy to fix that. You can come here to replace in ARBs, fan coil unit, and then switch it to what you have named it, and it will correct all of this information on that graphic for you. So that's one quick, easy way of getting that fixed. So if anybody doesn't have any questions, we're going to go ahead and call it a day. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. I hope